You guys asked for it. Here it is. There you go. I can't even get back there. Well, I brought a chainsaw. Probably just start cutting stuff and then rip it out. See what happens.
Yeah, I ain't sticking my hand up underneath there. That's why I got a gun in my hip.
Right.
If I see you yank back, be like, what is it? What is it?
There's super original. Man, I'll be surprised if this thing turns over. Let me see if I can get back there.
You can. Move off back. I think you gotta go around. You're taking
the hard way.
Let me put the hood down so nothing gets in it.
What does that license plate say? Oh wow. It's got a 1975 license plate on it.
You don't see those on these. It's stamped?
Yeah, it's stamped.
Yeah, those are hard to come by.
So I would imagine that it hasn't been legally driven on the road since 1975.
Yeah. That means this thing's probably been 40-something years.
I think that should be enough. Go ahead and drop that trailer off, and I'll back up to it and see if we can pull it out. How are those tires still seated? That's crazy.
You hear me scream, that means I was like, look at the size of that snake.
Spinning?
The back wheels are, the front ones aren't.
All right, so the problem I'm having is this wheel is locked up. So, let's see if we can get it unlocked. That's why it wasn't spinning. All right, so what I'm having to do is I'm gonna have to undo these two bolts so I can get this back seat out. And there's a spare tire in there. We'll see if it's any better than the one I got. The one I got is so out of round, so I'm just dragging the car through the mud, through the dirt. This is crazy. Great idea. This was a great idea. Oh, there's the gas cap. There we go. Half inch will work good enough. Cut it out. Oh, check it out. 8-track player. tow strap, crunched bumper, and an old telephone pole. Let's rip this sucker off. I reckon the next step is to do a little walk around. Got some dents in the grill. Fender's pretty beat up. It's pretty bad. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but there's a lot of dents. The hood's shot. It's dented in. Hood has a little bit of hail damage. Glass is kind of cracked a little bit. Got that piece of trim. Rocker panel trims there. Back windshield is, what else we got? Gas cap. I actually saw that sitting in the back seat, so that's good that we have the gas cap. I had to take the hood off so I could get the spare tire out. Y'all already saw the tree growing out of the bumper. You know, the back quarter's not too bad. It's pretty straight. This passenger fender, quarter fender's, it's got that dent right there, and then we got a dent right here. The rear doors are in really good shape. So the rear doors, that's gonna be if I park the car out. If you're looking for a 52 Plymouth Dodge 4-door rear doors, I got you on that one. I'll sell them cheap. All the trim around the car is in good shape. Glass has a couple little chips. This is the only piece of glass that's still in the car, and I haven't rolled the window up yet. We may even have a window. This door's dented in. I actually can pop that out, so it'd be cool if I could get this sucker running and then just take a jack and a 2x4 and some hammers, pop all the dents out on it, and then see if I can get this sucker to drive around the yard. And I could take the, I'm planning on putting tires on my wagon. So what I'll do is I'll take the tires off of the wagon, put them on here, and then I'm gonna put some really sweet, probably Kragers on the wagon, and then I can get this sucker rolling. I mean, it's bad, but I've seen a lot worse. I need to fix this fender before I mess the door up any worse. So here's the inside of her. This roof would actually make a good bird bath, since it's seat's seen better days. Dash is in good shape. The glass on the speedometer, the radio, that's all in good shape. The first things first, I want to mess with the motor and see if we can get the motor to spin over. After we've messed with the mechanicals, we'll go back into the inside of the car and dig through all this junk and see what we can find. I do know that we're missing the carburetor. To figure out what's going on with the carburetor situation, I'm planning on putting a 318 V8 in my 55 wagon. So whenever I do the swap on the wagon, I could probably move everything over: the radiator, the carburetor. But let's check out this motor and see what we're getting ourselves into. Intake's full of leaves, so I'm gonna have to suck the leaves out. I'm gonna see if I can wiggle the motor over, but definitely before I give it a full spin, I'm gonna go ahead and pull all the plugs out and fill it up with whatever I have on the bench. Usually I use diesel, but I have some Type F transmission fluid. Might throw that in there. I'm definitely interested to see what this oil looks like. It's all the way full to the top. That doesn't even smell like oil anymore. What in the world? Look and see. It's a little creamy, so could be from a blown head gasket back in the Dizzy. Probably not though, probably just condensation and the hood was halfway open. My biggest concern, along that carburetor's been taken off, left off, because I mean, we could have, this whole intake could be full. I'm gonna get my shop vac and try to vacuum out that intake, and then take my camera, put a borescope in there and see how far down that rat nest goes. What the? For real? I found the other end of that spark plug. Spark plug top is missing. It is right there. I got some needle nose, I'll pull it out. How did that end in there? 10 kisses all it takes. Yeah, that's not good. I want to minimize as much damage to the engine as I can and not suck a bunch of junk down into the engine. So So I started to take the bolts off of the intake, got them all loose, and then there was one bolt in the very bottom. Of course, it's always one bolt. That bolt, the head rounded off on it. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the bolts back up. And what I did was I took a piece of wire and I just scratched the inside with a piece of wire real good, and then I sucked out as much of that junk as I could. Let's go ahead and pull the spark plugs out, see what it looks like in there. I ran out of PB blaster. All I got is type F fluid for a Ford transmission. Hopefully they don't break off. Oh my God, that is on there. Oh, that's scary. I have a feeling it's gonna break. Yeah, there's been water in that cylinder. It's got moss on it. Never seen a spark plug with moss on it. Oh no. Yeah, that just broke. Tomorrow I'll grab a can of WD-40 and I'll spray these down with WD-40. So there's one last thing I want to do before I go inside. I want to see if that motor will spin over. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, that's locked up tight. All right, come on, baby. Ooh. Ooh, that is locked up, Jack. That is locked up, Jack. I went and got a thing of PB blaster, some spiral extractors so I can get that broken plug out, and then I can also extract all the other plugs that break out. And then I got a can of diesel, and once I get all these plugs out, fill the cylinders plumb full of diesel. First I'll probably spray some PB blaster in the cylinders and let that sit for a couple minutes, and then I'll fill it with diesel. As much as I didn't want to do this, I'm gonna have to remove the head. When I was banging on this spark plug, or most of it just ended up falling down into the engine, and I can't get it out. So let me go ahead and bust this head off. Ready? Oh wait, we don't want to bend that gasket. I gotta reuse it.
Okay, well it's a lot heavier than I was expecting it to be.
Holy
What is that?
crap.
What is that in there?
What?
The wet stuff?
That's PB blaster.
Ew, what the hell? That's crazy.
What?
That.
Those are bugs.
Ew.
So it's a good thing that I had to take this apart.
It's like ash or something. Or
It's ash.
Yeah.
Did this thing catch on fire? So look in this cylinder. It literally looks like ash. Look at that valve right there. I mean, it's completely, it looks like it's rusted to the block. I'm gonna go ahead and shop back all this junk out and tell me, if y'all can tell me what this is. I got it all shop vacked out. Looks pretty good. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blast all these valves with some PB blaster, and then I'm going to pour diesel in each one of these cylinders. This thing was getting water in it bad, dude. I mean, look at how bad this is all pitted, and then look at the piston. I mean, that piston is completely just, like, if you look at this one, it's perfectly smooth and flat, and this one is just completely pitted out. So this is probably why the engine won't turn. It's going to be this cylinder. How does that old saying go? Don't cry over spilt diesel. Break all that rust down with this steel wool. I also went ahead and filled the intake up. I got a really good idea. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a ratchet strap. I'm gonna tie one end to my breaker bar. I'm gonna tie the other end around the tree stump. I'm gonna give it a couple of so enough tension on it to where overnight, hopefully it'll pop loose. So I would tie a rope to the tractor and pull the whole car with the tractor. Only problem is the tractor doesn't have a good battery in it. So I think while I'm waiting for the engine to get out of the machine shop, probably gonna work on popping some of these dents out. So let me try to get the roof dent out first. But I want to try to get this big dent out. Oh yeah, I was able to get this window to roll up, and look, it's in perfect condition. Hole right here. I'm gonna stick a wrench in there and hit it with a hammer and try to whack that dent out. That's way better. It's passable now. Looks like a different car. It's the next day. It hasn't loosened up, at all. And I went ahead and took a block of wood, hammer, took a big metal rod, whacked each one of the pistons, suck all the diesel out. I'm gonna fill the cylinders with WD-40. I've never tried this before, but it's called Rust-Oleum Rust Dissolver. It says powerful formula, inhibits rust, removes rust, protects bare metal up to 12 months. So there was a couple broken plugs. I got those out. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bust this out. Went ahead and drilled it out, and it's good to go now. Check out this Rust-Oleum gel. It's probably been about an hour. I wiped the top of this valve off, and that is amazing. Look at it. I mean, it's actually eating the rust off. So this stuff works. Like, look at this. Look at my finger. For metal, I don't know if it eats away metal, like muriatic acid. So I'm gonna leave it on there for a little bit longer. I'll go ahead and shop back it out, and then I want this motor to sit overnight with a mixture of PB Blaster and that SuperTech lubricant. Try a little experiment. I sprayed that rust jelly on there. This is just after about a minute, and I wiped it off. It's pretty crazy. So it's day number 4. I went ahead and cleaned the valves a little bit better. And last night I had the ratchet strap pulling to the left, and I had it connected to the release spring on my Dodge Dart. And when I woke up this morning, the nut on the crank was backed off. It was loose. So we're gonna have to step it up a little bit, because I'd really like to get this all going in one video. Worst case scenario, I'll just make it a 2-part, because I got other stuff I need to get to. I found found a forum from like 2008, a bunch of old car guys on there talking about breaking free locked up engines, and one guy had recommended using a toilet bowl cleaner called Works. So my wife's on her way to Dollar General to go pick up a couple bottles. I'm gonna go ahead and suck all of this lacquer thinner and PB Blaster out. I'm gonna fill the cylinders up with the Works. I'm gonna be really careful because the stuff's corrosive. Because I remember whenever I was a kid, a teenager, we used to make Works bombs, and that's where you take a water bottle, you fill up the water bottle with little aluminum foil balls, you roll aluminum foil into balls, fill the thing up, pour Works in it, and you'd have one guy hold the bottle while you fill it up, put the cap on real fast, throw it, and the freaking thing would explode. So I know that Works stuff is pretty crazy. I definitely don't recommend doing it with the cylinder head on the car. Man, I've tried everything. I mean, I've automatic trans fluid, WD-40, PB Blaster, oh man, Rust-Oleum, rust dissolver, automatic transmission fluid, lacquer thinner. I set the cylinders on fire. I got the valves hot. If this works, it's gonna be pretty awesome. Special delivery came. Works. This seems like I'm getting kind of desperate here. Alright, directions for use. It is a violation, federal law, to use this product in any manner inconsistent with its labeling. Alright, I'll edit that part out. Carpet, bathtub, sink, enamel, chrome, and rusted engine blocks. Okay, cool. So, looks like we're in the clear. Time to do some sketchy stuff. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, doo-dah day. It's doing something. Look at it. It's like bubbling over. So we're just gonna go ahead and ram it. I have a chain hooked to my truck. I got the cylinders full of Seafoam Trans Tune. I got a mark on the crankshaft to see if it moved, and then I was able to, the clutch actually works. I jacked the rear of the car up and put it neutral, and I was able to spin the tire over, and then I can't move the shifter back and forward. I can only move it up and down. Well, I'm gonna throw it into third, and then we'll go ahead and ram it and see if it frees up. Probably gonna have to get my four-wheel drive truck. I'm gonna switch it to my four-wheel drive truck. I hope that wasn't important. So yanking it around the yard didn't work. So what I got is some cleaning vinegar. Went ahead and poured it in all the cylinders. We'll let that sit. We'll whack on the pistons, pull on the breaker bar. I may drag it around a couple times. We'll see if it works. So just after a few seconds with the vinegar, it looks like it's already starting to do some stuff. Especially on this piston. This piston was the worst because the intake valve was open. So water was getting into the intake, coming up to the intake valve and filling up this piston. So this piston was really corroded, and looks like there's already some gunk coming up. It wasn't coming up with the other stuff. So I was about to call it quits for the day, and then my buddy had mentioned that it could possibly be the flywheel that's locked up. So I crawled under the car, and this is what I found. Look at that. Look at the oil pan. It hit something super hard, and then it knocked a hole in the flywheel cover. So I'm wondering if maybe they hit something super hard, and then shrapnel flew up in the flywheel and jammed it up. So I'm gonna pull this cover and check and see what's going on in there. It's definitely not the piston. It's definitely not hitting. The crank's not hitting because it's a rear sump oil pan. So let's check and see. Well, I took the inspection cover off. It looks decently clean in there. A little bit of gunk on the flywheel where it was sunk into the ground, but I don't know if you can see. If you look, I don't know if the camera's going to catch it, but the starter's jammed up. It's actually engaged. If it's a starter that's causing this motor not to spin over, I'm gonna be pissed. But yeah, let's. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the starter. I pulled the starter. Motor is still plumb locked up. Ain't moving at all. I've done just about everything I can think of on this engine. It probably needs to be pulled, torn apart, and rebuilt. I'm not going to give up on it though. I'm going to go ahead and post the video. You know, tell me what you think. What could I do to unfree this engine? Are there any old tricks that you have, or something maybe I'm overlooking? Because the transmission's in neutral. So anybody that wants to say, check the transmission, check the clutch, that's all that's free. You guys, subscribe, follow me on this journey. And for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it over there by the tree stump. I'm going to tie my ratchet strap back to it. We're going to let it sit and soak, and every day I'll come out here and whack on the pistons and see if we can get it to spin over. Like I said, I really don't want to pull the engine out. You need parts off of it, let me know. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. You know, my plan would be, if I can't find anybody that wants to buy it, since it's really hard to get a title in Texas, I'll probably end up cutting the back half off, turning it into like a really cool wood bench, and put it on the side of my shed. And then the front of it, it would be cool to cut the front off and turn it into like a desk, or just hang it up on the wall or something. You know, you're not always going to win them all. I mean, I've gotten tons of cars running after decades of sitting, and sometimes you get defeated. But like I said, I'm not going to give up on it completely. I'll keep twisting on it and seeing if I can get it to free up. Thanks for watching, guys. This should buff out.